Word on the streets, it's Bowlznbeatz. What's good, everybody? And welcome back to the Bowlznbeatz podcast. It's your girl, Excelsia, and today we have a very special guest and a legend in Toronto, the founder of Kings of the Dot and Ghostdrops. Let's welcome Organik.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for being here. So before we get into the whole cannabis side of your industry, let's talk about your music industry.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been rapping.
Yeah, I don't really rap anymore. You know what I mean? I did like 12 years ago, but you know, in the last like 12 years, I've been running the world's largest rap battle league across the world. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when did you realize you had like a love for rap battling?
oh, like a little kid, I was one of those kids with like Wu-Tang tapes, probably listening to the end, looping it on a tape, you know, adding my own verse, probably at like the age of 8 or 9. But honestly, I got into rap battling just through like being online. You know, when like chat rooms first came around, audio stuff, I got recruited, just had like a very popular group on like what SoundClick back in the day is like the equivalent of SoundCloud now. So I was like, through freestyling there, I got up to be like in the #1 in ranks, and then I got recruited at like the age of 16 to go in freestyle battles. You know, won like $5,000 in my first freestyle battle, got addicted, and then you know, from there on out, just kind of became like a pillar in that community and understood like, you know, I cared about this stuff and wanted to curate it again, you know, the way that I creatively kind of envisioned battle rap. Growing up, I felt like I was let down a lot when I would show up to events. You'd like kind of build them up in your head, hoping they're like this big spectacle, and then you get there and it's like 30 random like junkies in a bar that like don't even have the money to pay the full prize that you win and shit like that. So it was always like a letdown to me. One BET Spring Bling 2006, 2008. Again, more letdowns though, because you know it was just false promises, right? And being a kid from Canada, and especially like, you know, I wasn't who they envisioned
Exactly.
be like, you know, their next Freestyle Friday superstar back then. So you know what I mean? It got me on my grind. You know, it taught me to do my own things, not rely on other people, and I built something much bigger. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So what inspired you to create King of the Dot?
It's a passionate kid with battle rap. Back then, YouTube and everything wasn't very prevalent. It was brand new. So like, I was one of the first like battle rappers traveling worldwide and battling from Canada, and like pretty much like the only one that got like good reputation from it. So like, I would get messages all the time from other people trying to do it, asking like, how do you get involved? How'd you get in this competition? How'd you do that? So basically, I just realized like, man, there's a lot of artists up here that don't know what to do. You know what I mean? I could just, you know, provide that outlet for them. Because in 2007, I procured the World Rap Championships to come to Toronto, and I worked with someone named Harry from there. And then when that kind of fell apart after they left, it was like a great competition, but like they were just from London. They didn't really understand like North American side of like, you know, the hip hop landscape. It kind of fell apart, and it just left an open gap for like, you know, a lot of opportunity, and that's kind of just what I jumped on. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And how do you feel like the Toronto culture influenced your music career?
Huge, man. I think King of the Dot was Toronto's culture probably for
literally
like
the name says it all.
for like 15 years. I think like you know, like the thing about King of the Dot is like the events were so big. You know, we were selling out government, 1,500 people, but every person in that place was like an artist, a DJ, a producer, T-shirt printer, engineer, name it. It was a big networking hub for the city. It kept a lot of like, it was the glue for the city. Ever since King of the Dot, like when COVID happened, I feel like the city kind of fell apart because there wasn't the glue. There isn't a platform anymore for anyone to like, you know, aspire to be on. And like before now we got like, which is cool, Rolling Loud, shout out to that. But like, there's no real outlets or platforms putting artists on from Canada, and there never really has been, you know what I mean? So it's always been like a luck of the draw by getting video grants or factor grants or something like that. And to me, I always thought that was like the cheap way because it's just who writes grants better. And I felt like battle rap is like, yo, 32 of y'all gonna come here and 31 of y'all gonna go home losing. And that was a real way to find out who the best was. You couldn't tell someone you didn't deserve it after you just ran through all the people there.
Of course,
you know what
everybody
I mean?
got talent, right?
For me, that was like the ultimate win. It's like, you know, I'm coming here and 31 of y'all are going home losing, thinking about me because, you know what I mean, I'm gonna beat y'all. Like, and that was my outlook when I was 18. I'm much more humble now, but when I was 18 years old, it was like, I'm coming to fuck your day up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Of
And
course,
that was it.
of course.
You know, so
that's awesome.
yeah, I loved it. You know, I loved the adrenaline rush.
amazing.
I liked you know, I think battle rap itself is just such like a thrill. It's such like a creative aspect. It's a lot of like theatrics, you know, performance. A lot goes into it. I personally think they're the most talented people on earth because it's like you have one opportunity to get it out, and there's just so much to the art form itself, and to be doing it on a worldwide elite level that we're all doing it on these days, it's pretty surreal, you know. And we made Toronto a hub for battle rap for like a good 8 years. I'm gonna bring it back this summer. I haven't done an event in Canada in 3 years. You know, I've been hugging the American side, Atlanta, Detroit, New York, and Los Angeles for the last couple of years.
That's
but
amazing.
you know, we're back this summer.
And I seen that you did an event like a couple years ago with Drake. He co-hosted an event with you.
Yeah, I've done a couple
That's
events with Drake,
awesome.
yeah.
Who else have you worked with?
Lots of people. I produced a movie with Eminem.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know, Just a
Jeez.
lot, over the years. I
Wow.
don't even really know where to start naming or
That's
name
great.
dropping people, But yeah, we've got some accolades
That's
for
amazing.
sure.
So you
yeah.
definitely got a lot of inspiration, eh?
Yeah, for
Right?
sure. Yeah, for
Damn.
sure.
And do you know what's coming next? I'm gonna ask you if you can freestyle. You still have it in you?
I haven't rapped in
He
like
doesn't-
10 years.
He's rusty, guys. He's
I-
rusty. But either way, I mean, you've won several awards. You've won it at
Yeah.
BET. We know you have talent. What was that like, winning those awards for you being on that stage?
I mean, it was cool, more so like for my friends, I think. You know what I mean? Like for me, I always knew like, because I did it online on a much more competitive level than I felt like the battle circuit in Canada was on. Like I knew I could compete worldwide with all the best of the best back then, and I felt like Canada was very like junior back then. So,
True. Very
winning
true.
those competitions was always a good feeling, but in the back of my head, I always knew like the bigger prizes were in America. Winning up here was like winning, the juniors. You want to go win the majors, you know what I mean? And for me, that was really it. Like I could win up here, and it was cool because that's like where my friends got to come, like my people I went to high school with, and like be proud and shit like that, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like what's elite, and my goal was always on being the best of the best, and I wanted to compete with the best of the best, and I wasn't really satisfied until I could do that.
That's amazing. And what made you pick organic?
I get asked this
And why with the K?
It's funny, right? Well, it's funny the way world works out. I was like a 14, 13-year-old kid breaking up weed on a gardening book, and I needed a name for a screen name because I was in an online battle competition.
Oh my God.
So I just made my name, because back then it's so
Don't.
corny, but I used to call myself like Mike Tyson, like MIC, microphone. But I thought it was cool back then. But, then I just made my name like Organic to Mike Tyson just for like that screen name. But then like those kind of went like semi-viral. So it just stuck with me, and everyone is just like organic. And it took me, and that's what made me laugh because the battle scene in Canada, whenever I'd won, like forum boards barely existed, social media didn't exist, so everyone was just like, oh, the skinny white kid won again. The skinny white. I'd win competitions, be so excited, go home, go to like Hip Hop Canada, go to read like the reviews, and everyone's like, yo, who won? Oh, the skinny white kid. I was like, damn, they don't even know my name.
You're like, that's
You
me.
know what I mean? But that's the course of it, right? Then social media came out, it changed the whole game. So,
And I want to bring up the fact that you said you were like breaking up weed, so you've been smoking.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
definitely,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you like did your music career and then like you like gradually.
Nah.
Yeah, you gradually
Nah.
like turned into like a weed
No, the
head.
name is
Okay.
synonymous, kind of like, it suited me everywhere I went. I was always like the biggest, I guess, pothead growing up. My house was always a place everyone would go to smoke weed when we were like young kids in school. So it's just always been a big part of my life, you know what I'm saying, since the jump. So yeah, anyone that's known me since I was like 11 years old knows me as the weed guy.
That's
so
amazing.
yeah, it is what it is. I've always sold weed. I've always smoked weed. I've always, been that guy.
Literally same. But I mean, back then it wasn't as normalized, so that must have been like a huge stigma
Yeah.
for you growing up, right?
I didn't mind it, you know what I mean? I think my parents didn't mind anything, but
Of course,
yeah.
of course. Back then, right?
yeah.
And have you smoked with any like big names out there?
Oh, of course.
Oh my God, that's
course, yeah.
amazing. I'm honestly
Yeah.
so jealous right now. Like, I'm so jealous. So what's your legendary like sesh squad that you haven't smoked with yet?
That I haven't?
Yes.
I mean, like, that's a good question. You know what I mean? I mean, look, I'd love to, like, bring people back from the past, like someone like George Carlin, you know what I mean? I'd love to pick his brain and stuff. I just thought he was a very, like, unique individual, very smart, and obviously, like, his topics on comedy are, like, very, like, driven for potheads, you know what I mean? It's, like,
Exactly.
your deep thinking shit. So I think anyone that's really, like, intellectual on that level and can, like, sustain a conversation like that, I think is at my speed. You never know. Some
Literally,
people you
right?
think are cool are kind of dull in conversation, and
God,
some
tell
people
me
that
about it.
you're not expecting to be cool are super like open
So
and you know what I
true.
mean, and you have the best time with them. So I try to really, I know it sounds corny, but like try to not judge a book by its cover or judge a book by its perception, because just because someone's made to be something doesn't mean they always are, and that's why they always say don't meet your idols, and I
That's
firmly
true.
believe that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like I have some guests that come on here and I tell them like, I smoke before I do the podcast, and they're like, "How do you function?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "How do you function without it?" Like, I don't get it. But
Shower in the morning.
literally. But since you've been saying that you've been dealing with weed the whole time, what was it like for you to go from like the black market to the legal market? That must have been like
Yeah,
crazy.
it's still weird for me. You know what I mean?
Right?
It's a big transition, obviously, because 15 years of my life I've been operating in the black market. Everybody says legacy market. I fucking hate that word. I'm not one of these corny guys using it for, clout or anything like that. The history speaks for itself. I'm not a jump on. And I don't really respect the jump ons or anyone just trying to like capitalize on this scene. Like, where the fuck were y'all the last 8 years? So making it and going to legal, it's not like, it was always in the plans, but it's never like, hey, we made the transition to legal. Like, what we're trying to do is just bring like good quality cannabis nationwide. You know what I mean? And it's been a problem since Canada went legal. Everybody's been in a race to the bottom, trying to produce the cheapest cannabis, and there's nobody trying to produce the highest quality. So, in the black market, we work with all, like, my whole thing when I started Ghostdrops was like, seeing the gaps in the market. There was a lot of people not, marketing correctly, just, not promoting brands, everything like that. So, I had this game plan about, consolidating all the best growers across Canada, all the competition winning growers, having individual strain stickers for every strain we created, putting this, the logo of each grower in the bottom right corner so you can leverage their brand and build their brand. And that way, if they want to go legal, they have leverage. They have a brand they can leverage, because right now it's like, it's a fucking trust fund fest in the legal scene. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Health Canada went knocking on doors of drug dealers and growers saying, here's a job. You know what I mean? It went to the people with the money.
Literally the opposite.
So,
if
like,
anything.
for us, we're just trying to kick the door down and provide those opportunities for the people that got us here. You know what I mean? Because, like, we'll look at the legal market as the playoffs, and, like, if you make it to the playoffs, why would you change your team?
That's true.
So we have a lot of big plans. I'm excited to get a lot of these guys in market and show Canada what we have here, because I feel like the legal market isn't showing what we have. It's showing, like, glimpses of it, but
it's not.
It's
showing what they want to show.
Yeah, there's a lot of great growers out there. There's a lot of great cannabis. There's a lot of great people in the scene that, deserve these opportunities. And it just sucks that the stigma from like a lot of investor standpoint and a lot kind of just got burned by the people that were ahead of us. But again, Health Canada used everybody as a guinea pig. And I won't even say Health Canada, because I think it was more provincial regulations.
Yeah.
But like you were used as a guinea pig. There was no, grants to bail you out if you failed on their system or anything like that. So they literally played with everybody, and, they put a lot of people in a bad position. So, I'm not going to say, hey, we're here to fix the game, because obviously, you know what I mean? That's
There's
a big
lot
statement.
to do,
but, we're here to do our part. And I think, like, I hope people understand we're not trying to be malicious. We're not trying to be competitive with other people. We're just trying to build a culture and a scene. Yes. And cannabis has always been a good, supporting, positive culture. We built an amazing community with Ghostdrops in the black market.
One of the best positive fucking communities out there.
and that's what it's about. That's what life's about, is just creating and curating good moments for everybody and making sure everybody feels good about themselves and is happy with the situation they're in, and we're just continuing to try to do that. I know it's tough, right? Because people have like expectations, and you get the people that are like, want to throw dirt on it and everything, but we're just going to keep focusing on doing what we're doing and, trying to be the good guys in the scene, bringing the fire.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you guys are bringing the fire. Being someone who's tried their shit, like, you guys are honestly one of the very few dispensaries that do carry quality stuff.
Appreciate it.
Guys, hit up Ghostdrops, check them out. And speaking of Ghostdrops, why did you name it Ghostdrops?
There's a couple reasons.
Like, I literally can't.
There's some hidden connotations in there, but mostly, like, the way that we operated was obviously through mail order and everything. So it was, discreet packaging, so people didn't know where it was coming from. It's just being dropped off at your door.
Oh, that's cool.
Shows up at your door. Someone knocks. By the time you get there, they're gone, and your package is there. It's like a ghost dropped it off. So it kind of was just like synonymous with that. But we also have some other reasons that we wanted to go that name. It just worked in a lot of different levels. Being able to get a .com. There were so many things that was factoring in when we were starting on trying to, like, what is the name? How do you brand this? What is the best way to go forward? Because marketing is my specialty, and I think, like, I had to do it right. This was my one shot with the cannabis company, and I wanted to do it the way that I felt like Canada should be represented. And, I didn't want to come out with one of these names like Cannabis or Metro Can or fucking Biocan or it's like, like, there's a lot to having a brand and being able to wear the sweater and, no one at the table know what it is, but the one other person that does know what it is, it's a fist bump. You know what I'm saying?
You're already part
and
of the
it's almost like a culture that you're building. You know what I mean? And it's like a niche culture, and that's really what we tried to do on the black market, because we couldn't come out and say, like, hey, this is us. But we could slowly build this niche culture to start working together, understanding good quality cannabis, educating each other about it, waiting for the drops. And holding each other down when you're depressed and down in life. Like, you know, through COVID, we did a lot just trying to like help the community. You know what I mean? We sent out over, I think, like 5,000 jars of, you know, hand sanitizer within like the first month of COVID.
Oh, that's amazing.
Doing,
That's awesome.
you know, we got to use the
That's
community
great.
and be positive in it. And I think that's something that we just always really want to keep doing. You know, like
Exactly.
we're going to be throwing a lot more events, a lot more stuff like that, just to keep people involved and understand again that this is a community, right?
Yeah,
It's not just a
exactly.
business; it's a community.
And
So-
for anybody who wants to be in your position and wants to like turn their market into the legal market, do you have any advice for them? Something that you were not expecting when you went into it yourself?
I mean,
There's definitely a lot of obstacles for
yeah,
sure.
there's so
Yeah,
obstacles.
right.
You need to have a good business model, right? Like, I think that's the one thing. I have an incredible team. You know, I want to
Yeah.
throw that out there. It's not just me. You
course,
know, like
of
I'm just one
course.
member, right? So, you know, going to legal market, we had our idea of what we wanted our business model to be, and then it was linking up with, you know, who we hired as our CEO, Gene, and he had a very similar business model, and it kind of just built on the business model that we projected. Obviously, we didn't know the landscape, so we were kind of just like winging what we thought the business model would be,
Yeah.
and you know, he was able to kind of come in, you know, touch it up, and you know, added a lot to it, and you know, just kind of got us on the right steps. So I think my advice would be, you know, just play the game right. Take your time. Don't rush into this. This is not a race. As you can see, people
Yeah.
are losing money daily. The opportunities are going to come. You know what I mean? Don't rush into something you're not ready for, just thinking that you got to be the first, because being first doesn't mean anything in this industry. Being right does. You know what I mean?
very
And doing
true.
it right does. So just make sure you got the support, and don't put yourself in a vulnerable position, because the culture needs you too. You know what I mean?
That's true. And in your opinion, what's your favorite strain?
My favorite strain, I'm so biased, the Funk and Splitter. That's why we released them. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Like,
was just smoking that today.
yeah, like
Oh,
Funk
it is so
Funk won
good.
a lot of awards in the black market.
Really?
Yeah, like it won,
Oh.
you know, at Karma Cup, Westfest. It's done, you
shit.
know, like unlicensed producer did good with it. Cultivating Happiness, the original owner and the guy who hunted the cut, you know, salute to him. It's what I think is probably the closest thing, and the only thing I think, not the closest thing or the only thing, but like I think the first real like award winner strain in Canada that had like a lot of hype behind it. On the black market, we couldn't keep that on our site for longer than 30 seconds. Like you
Yeah.
would watch like 4,000 sales just like in the matter of like a flick of a finger, you know? So like
Holy
the hype
shit.
was there for it. It was
Yeah.
crazy. We could never keep it. So that was one of the main things that kind of convinced me to go legal, was like my partners were always like, hey, it's time, it's time, it's time. And I was always flirting on it, but I'm so comfy just doing what we were doing. But knowing that we were able to, again, you know, bring the players and the things that we had with us in the black market to the legal market, it was a big thing. Like, you know, getting that strain over there again is, you know, I look at it as one of our players. And when you get to the playoffs, why would you change your team? So
That's very true.
keep repeating that.
Exactly. I mean, guys, if you've learned one thing here, the key is team. Team gets you everywhere. Correct me if I'm wrong. At the opening of your Ghostdrops dispensary, you were wearing a shirt, and I swear it said something. It said something so sick, and I was like,
Yeah, you ain't shit without your homies.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was like, facts. I
Shout
love
out to
that.
Hash Show.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta drop that link because
Mhm.
you gotta get me one of those.
Yeah, we'll be putting those ones up soon. So yeah.
And I always see you in Cali now.
Yeah.
Are you going there for business or is it
Yeah,
just like
King of the
travel?
Dye. You know,
Okay,
I do
okay,
King of the Dye,
amazing.
so I'm out there probably like 10 times a year, maybe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And would you say their weed's better than ours?
You know, there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. I feel like, you know, it's changed. Like back in 2008-ish, I would have said like the OG market in California was smacking and we couldn't keep up. And then I felt like, you know, they focused a lot more on exotics, and that's where like our pink cushes and stuff like that started really smacking. And like I'll
Yeah.
put a good pink kush cut up against any OG cut. Like I'm a firm believer in
Nice.
pink kush will hit harder than like a smacking OG. But you know, they got the exotics on lock. I think just like, you know, they're leaders in cultivating as far as just like, you know, and they got all the best breeders down there. So like everything that we get up here, you know, we're kind of almost, not to say we're getting hand-me-downs, but Americans get it first, right? Like Seed Junkie, Exotic Genetics, Compound, In-House, Tiki Madman, all these big breeders, they're like in America. So obviously when they find winners, they're giving it to their partners in America
course.
first, and then the hype builds, and then we find out about it, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, a lot of us are just buying the hype seed lines as they drop them, but they've already done testers, giving out tester packs, and stuff like that. But, you know, a lot of similarities in the market. I think they got exotics on lock right now, though. They really
Yeah?
do. Yeah, for sure. They
Good.
got
I gotta
exotics on
fly out
lock
there
right
and
now.
try one.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
It's definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah, California is where it's at for weed, and Michigan for
Ooh, I
in America.
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
Michigan
Oh,
and
shit.
California are the top two in opened my eyes.
Shout
yeah.
out Michigan and California.
Oregon as well. Like anywhere like along that western coast is good. You know,
Sick.
Nevada's hit and miss. Shout out
or
my
miss.
guys on Cookies on the Strip though.
And if there's one thing you can change about the marijuana industry right now, what would you change?
Regulations. I would allow us to promote. I think it's like archaic laws that we're dealing with, especially when you can walk in a liquor store and buy like IPA that looks like
my
Where's
God,
Waldo,
tell me
and
about
there's
it.
no childproof on it or nothing. Like I just don't get the logic behind that. No kid is gonna pick up a childproof thing. Have you ever ate dry weed? It's horrible, horrible.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? But kids want to try alcohol because they see their parents consuming it, right? And especially if all these cool. I don't want to shit on alcohol, but all I'm saying is we got to be treated
Nah,
the
you
same.
can shit on alcohol.
You know
fuck
what I mean?
alcohol.
But we got to be treated the same. Like when you do the
Absolutely.
comparisons and how many domestic violence, how many people in rehab, how many people in jail, how many car accidents, how many of these like facts that I can spew for half an hour that
Yeah.
don't even compare. And it's why are the regulations the same when these numbers are so fucking lopsided? You know what I mean? And to me, that's the thing that aggravates me the most is that we're treated like the criminals. You know, like the government has already admitted that they made a mistake by holding this back from us and charging
Yep.
people for the last 20 years. So it's like, fuck off with your regulations because y'all don't know what you're doing with those either.
Clearly.
You're literally, you're handicapping everybody's business. You know, American companies are able to grow quicker than Canadian companies because of their avenues in marketing. They can use celebrity endorsements and, it gives them an advantage. And then what? How do a Canadian company compete? They can build a company in America and then just come up here and have a bigger brand than someone like, and let's say just Tweed, a $1 billion company, but they're being held back from doing what a lot of these American brands are doing to be able to build that notoriety. And like, that's another reason why I started Ghostdrops. Like, I'm in America half the year. No one's ever been asked me about a Canadian cannabis brand. Ever. That's a fucking problem, you know? Up here, we know everybody. We know Jungle Boys. We know Cookies. We know Alien
That's so
Labs. We know
true.
Connected. You know what I mean? We know all the good companies, putting out fire. So, it's just a little weird that we've never had anything to represent us in there. And that's really what I wanted Ghostdrops to be, is like the brand that represents Canada, the brand that's going to be doing things right, the brand that actually has, cultural touch points in this stuff. We're not just slapping craft and legacy on our name. Like, don't even associate me
following
with
a
those
trend.
things. Don't even associate me with those if y'all are going to be that, because we're not here for that. We're not here to tell everyone that. Like, I know a lot of people want to kick our history and our story, but like, I'm not here to like shit on people and devalue you because you weren't part of that story or something. I just get frustrated when people try to kick an image that isn't real. You know what I mean? Like telling people you were something that you weren't.
That's
Like
the media for you.
none of us knew you. So you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not, again, but just be y'all and let everyone be them and you'll succeed. It's when everyone starts faking the funk is, when you get the rug pulled from under you, because people knew who was in this industry and who wasn't. So a lot of y'all out here slapping these words on yourselves, making yourselves look crazy to the people that know. You know what I mean?
And that goes for the government too, because like you said, it's legal, but you guys can't promote yourselves fully.
Yeah, there's so many
How does that make
regulations.
sense?
Yeah, it's so many regulations. It's insane.
That's
And
insane.
it depends really
Wow.
on like dispensaries. It depends where your license is.
Damn.
It's a headache to deal with, but I'm hoping over due time they start realizing like, wow, we legalized it, DUIs didn't skyrocket. You know what I mean? All these things you can start like, being a little more lenient with all this stuff. Let us live, let us build these brands, let us build these companies, let us build this industry, let us make Canada proud. We're the only country where weed is legal nationwide. Like, this should be a destination location for people worldwide, but it's not, because it's not fire yet. You know what I mean? So
Yet.
Exactly. And we just haven't really engaged in the community. Everything from like weed retreats and yada yada and cool stuff that we could be using for travel and tourism. The rest of the world is intrigued by this, right? And like, we're not opening our doors and using that as a means to lure the world in for travel and tourism. And like, really, we should be like, we're kind of like leading the culture right now, and we're leading the world and showing them that like, this was wrongly criminalized. There's a lot of people that were like wrongly convicted, wrongly just perception, like, even just perception looked at the wrong way because of this. It shouldn't be stigmatized. You know what I mean? And we can be the country that leads people. We're a very successful company. We're a very country. Sorry, not company. People look up to Canada worldwide. They see us as very like polite figures.
It's
you know what I mean? And
It's
everything.
true.
It's like, if we can show this with cannabis, and like, we can crush that whole stigma, because people look at us as the good guys. And if the good guys are consuming this and staying the good guys,
That's
maybe
very
the rest of the
true.
world will realize like, yo, maybe this shit isn't so bad.
But you guys are kind of changing that because you did your 420 event.
Yeah,
That's different because people can actually come together as a community and celebrate. You know what I mean?
That
We're
was
not
really,
all hiding in our houses smoking weed. Like
that was the point. We've all been so locked up due to COVID,
Yeah.
and like I'm always such like outgoing person. I always want to throw events. I always want to do stuff that's like making people come together, have a good time, and you know the 420 event is just the beginning. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff like that.
It was great, by the way.
Thank
It
you.
was
I'm glad
great.
you
I had a
good
great time.
That's good.
And I'm going to tell you something. It's actually so funny. So before we entered, I was telling my girl that came with me, I'm like, I don't feel good right now. And she's like, don't worry, you'll be fine. I get in there and I smelled the aroma and it just smelled like Kush. I felt so much better. It was like an instant. I was like, all right, I'm good. And I had the best time.
That's
so
good.
honestly,
That's good.
thank
I'm
you for
glad to
inviting
hear
me. It
that.
was
I'm
great.
glad to hear that.
And you guys obviously have a lot of big things coming because that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So what do you think the future of cannabis looks like?
Bright, hopefully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like, you know, positive and bright. I just want everyone to be working towards the same goal. Like right now, I think a lot of people in the cannabis industry don't realize that it's us together versus the industry. And I mean like the industry as in like the government, like we got to stick together and hold each other down. If we already have these people trying to tear us apart. There's no need for us to be kicking dirt on each other. We're just here to preach positivity and make things good. You know, I want to see the future of cannabis just be positive and something that everyone is happy with and took pride of being a part in, not something they look back at and regret ever making the decision to be involved in cannabis. Because I feel like, you know, a lot of people have been put in that position, so it's our job now to turn that around and make this a positive space for everybody. Crazy,
Like it's really a community for a reason.
And yeah, I say is if people need help, reach out. You know what I mean? You feel a way about something, reach out, because problems don't get solved by, you know, getting upset and not telling the person
Exactly.
about it. So, yeah.
And how about for Ghostdrops? What does the future look like for you guys?
It's bright, man. It's very
Yeah,
bright. You know,
it's green.
we're babies in this world. We're babies. You know, we're 5 years in the black market, but we're only 4 months in the legal industry. But again, you know, we're here to have fun and you know do what we can to make this industry as positive as possible with the best fire as possible. We have our outlook on what we want. We're focused on quality, and that's our goal. You know, it's just producing the best of the best. That's all we really want. So weed people are proud to smoke, you know, and enjoy your medicine.
If that's one thing about stoners is we're proud to be a stoner.
Yeah, you
like,
know, well, you want something
always.
that you want. Look, man, we're all competitive in our own way. You want to have better weed than your friends.
Of
you know what I mean?
course,
So grab
of course.
Ghostdrops.
But it's kind of like motivational in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It makes me
100%.
motivated. I'm like, oh, you got that Kush? I'm gonna get even better Kush next time, right? And to wrap this up, do you have any advice to anybody who wants to get either into the music industry or the cannabis industry?
Confidence, man. Don't doubt yourself because.
Yes.
I'm just a random kid. I made it happen. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm nothing special about me or anything like that. But go out there, be good to people. Don't burn bridges. You know what I mean? And you be good to people. And the world has a funny way of being good back to you. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But 5 years down the line, your time may come. So just keep being good to people. Keep being positive, and you know, just wish for the best. And that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up our interview with Organik. Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, you're a legend to the city.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good shit.
Sure.
Word on the streets is Bowlznbeatz. Bye.
Awesome.
You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're natural.
Yes.